Okay, this is part two of our most recent series on the West Memphis 3 case. There is so much information in this case that it's kind of hard to break it all down, especially if you're not familiar with it. So, we're going to try to take the approach that each video will be about a different person of interest in the case, which is kind of interesting because my TikTok partner, Amy, and I almost always agree on every single case as far as who did it. This is one case that we do not agree on. So, let's get straight into it. Back on May 5th in 1993, these three innocent 8-year-old boys were brutally murdered. This is Christopher Byers, Michael Moore, and Stevie Branch. This happened in West Memphis, Arkansas. And when I say brutally murdered, I mean things that you cannot even imagine. They were found in a drainage ditch the following day after they went missing. They were hogtied right wrist to right ankle, left wrist to left ankle, all of them with shoelaces. They were mutilated with skull fractures, you name it. It was beyond awful. I have long believed in the Mr. Bojangles theory, and I'm about to tell you why. Like I said, the boys were found in a drainage ditch, but it was actually in these woods and it's called the Robin Hood Woods. About a mile away from here is a restaurant called Bojangles. On the night of the murders, the manager at Bojangles, Marty King, called the police. He says around 9 to 9:30 p.m. because he said that he had a female customer. She and her daughter had come in almost right before they were closing. And when they went to the restroom, to the women's restroom, there was a male in there that was covered in so much blood and mud. So the manager says, okay, let me go check this out. He goes into the women's restroom and he says that there is an African American man in this restroom. His head is sort of down in his hands. There was blood all over the wall. There was mud all over him. There was mud all over the floor. There was blood on the toilet. There was blood all over the toilet paper roll. And he asked the man, are you okay? Do you need help? And he said that the man just sort of seemed disoriented. He didn't seem like he was drunk or on drugs, but just seemed like really out of it. The man stayed in there for around 20 minutes. And the manager then told him, like, listen, you got to go. You've got to get out of here. So the manager did call the police and the police came. Now, interestingly enough, there's a little bit of a discrepancy on the timeline there because the police said that they received the call more around 8:30 p.m., but the manager, Marty King, kept sticking to his story that he knew it was about a half hour before they closed, which was 10 p.m. So anyway, it's sort of a moot point because the police didn't even take it that seriously. She didn't even get out of the car. They came through the drive-through and they're like, "Hey, what's going on?" The manager tells them what's going on. They never even bothered coming inside. By this point, the man that had been bloody and muddy in the bathroom had already left on foot. The police did end up coming back the next day after they discovered the boys and they thought, I wonder if that tip was important. So they go back to the Bojangles the next day and they do take some scrapings off of the wall and off of the door handle. But oddly enough, those were never tested because they said that they were lost. To me, this all seems like way too much of a coincidence. And also, they asked this man who, they asked the public if you were in the Bojangles restroom and, you were involved in this situation, please come up forward. We want to talk to you. No one ever came forward. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you think it was Mr. Bojangles or do you think it was someone else?